Good morning. Welcome to Southeastern 16 presented by FanDuel. I'm your host, Chris Lee, filling in for Blake Lovell, who's on the road this morning, joined by my main man, Max Barr. We are excited. We are ready to talk hoops. We will hit the biggest game of the night, Alabama's home loss to Purdue. We'll hit LSU's win. We'll hit a big, impactful injury at Kentucky, and we'll touch on the weekend. Before we do that, always the reminder, we are brought to you by our friends at GameTime SIDEKICKS, which makes officially licensed stainless steel drinkware. Every SEC school the mic went out. Everything from stainless steel sippy cups, tumblers, 40-ounce bottles, shaker cups, SE16 gets you 20% off your entire order. Check out GameTime SIDEKICKS. Help out the folks who help our channel. Good morning, Max Barr. Interesting game last night in Tuscaloosa. We'll get into that and other stuff. How are you, my man?
I'm good. I'm finally coming out of this COVID. Man, was I sidelined for a little bit. Hope I'm starting to sound better for you folks who listen on audio. And SE South guy says, I miss Blake. Blake is fine. He's on the road this morning with the kiddos. So you get your Chris and Max fix. Come on.
That's right. And I think everybody, I've been knee deep in football. We did some baseball content this week. So I've been following basketball, not to the depth that you guys have. But hey, I did watch a lot of this one last night. Great ball game in Tuscaloosa. Really impressive win for Purdue. First of all, let's give credit where it's due. But hey, nothing really, I don't think that you felt horrible about if you're Alabama. If I had to have one takeaway, it's that Purdue kind of sat back in that zone, said we're going to grab all the rebounds. You're going to get one shot and then no more. And we're going to see how many of these you can hit. And Alabama missed some good looks, 16 of 44 from three, 36.4%. You're going to have to shoot better than that if you're Alabama to win that type of game. And Alabama will in a lot of places. But I don't know that you're going to face – I don't know that anybody's going to face a team quite like Purdue with the size, the bulk, and a point guard unlike one that anyone else has in Braden Smith.
Well, there's going to be multiple storylines coming out of this one, Chris. And I think the number one, which people, Alabama fans, you're probably already tired of hearing of. If you're, a diehard fan, you've been on social media after the loss, rebounding, right? Just got absolutely destroyed on the boards. And I think you got to credit Purdue a little bit on that because they are coming off of a game without TKR, but still coming off of a game against Oakland where they got out rebounded. And Matt Painter directly challenged. This was a direct challenge to his bigs. You're not going to be able to get out rebounded by Oakland and then go into Tuscaloosa and win. We're going to need a better effort on the boards. And so that was kind of just a bad timing thing to not have Big Collins, to not have Keaton Bristow. I mentioned that we did our preview yesterday. No Bristow in this one. Man, there was a lot of times you could have used a Keaton Bristow out there. But, Chris, you go through all that, right? Destroyed on the boards. LeBaron Philon, not his most efficient game, especially in that first half. Man, TKR, flawless. Braden Smith, incredible game. Oscar Clough, I was on him big time after that exhibition. Did not look good. I still don't think he's going to be elite like he was, hyped up to be in the offseason, but still, he puts up a good stat line, 9-11. And guess what, Chris? The tie game with a minute and a half left. As horrible as that was, tie game with a minute and a half left.
I'm trying to find a box score by halves because it felt like to me, and maybe I'm wrong, but it felt like to me like Alabama was doing a little bit of taking it to the bucket early in the second half. And then just, not like they didn't know this, ran into all that size and length and man, Purdue's got as much of it as anybody. And then just settled for, and look, they did a good job finding gaps in the zone on the corners to get some good looks at three. But I just felt like Alabama at one point kind of abandoned the drive to the basket as a strategy in the second half. I'm trying to see if I just, if box score validates that. I can't find it, but that's the way it felt to me when I watched it.
Yeah, and Nate Oates was asked that by one of the Alabama beat writers in the post-game presser, and he was like, yeah, probably could have played maybe Davion Hannah a little bit more at 6'6", almost 200 pounds, maybe get a bigger physical guard in there and see what he can do a little bit more. But yeah, he wasn't pleased with the lack of penetration there as the game went on. But Chris, I'm going to go back to the rebounding just real quick. And we're going to jump all over on this game because, man, there was we could talk about this game for an hour. Felt like a Final Four level game in November. The rebounding for Alabama, okay? Who do you think is Alabama's leading rebounder right now? Just in pure, not like analytical, like percentages or something, just the stat of rebounding. Who has the most on the team right now?
Aiden Sherrill.
Right? You would think Sherrill. You would think maybe Bull Bowen, maybe Williamson. No, it's 6'8" freshman Amari Allen.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So 6'8" freshman Amari Allen's leading the team in rebounds by 6. He's got 21. The next leader, second on the team, has 15 rebounds right now. You'd be like, okay, there's Sherrill, there's Bull Bowen or Williamson. Nope. Houston Millett.
Yeah.
Second.
Millett's a really good rebounder for a guard.
In rebounder. Right now, Chris, Aiden Sherrill is averaging 1 rebound per 7.5 minutes on the floor. He's played 60 minutes of basketball, averaging 20 minutes a game, and he's had 4 rebounds, 2 rebounds, and 4 rebounds. You look at the guy out there, 6'11", 260, looks like a monster out there. You gotta be averaging more than 1 rebound every 8 minutes. Just gotta be. And Bull Bowen said after the game, said, I'll take responsibility for the rebounding as well. But still, cannot have 6'8" freshman Amari Allen and 6'5" senior Houston Millett being the 2 leading rebounders on this team. That's got to change.
Well, it makes a little bit of, like, it's not what you wanted, but it makes a little bit of sense because Purdue's bigs were just grabbing everything near the bucket. Like, if you wanted a rebound, it better be one that took a longer bounce. Yeah.
And Oates was saying, like, we do as a program, at Alabama, we reference the Charles Barkley rebounding quote a lot, where rebounding just comes down to desire, and I think it was Nick Kelly that asked Oates about this, Alabama beat. Said, like, how do we fix this rebounding? Like, what's the method of attack here? And Oates was like, it kind of got to be player led. And so, I think real quick here, early on in the season, we're going to see this aspect of Alabama, and it's going to be the Achilles heel. Every game that comes up, Chris, that you preview, you got Illinois coming up, you got Gonzaga and Graham Ike, you got Arizona in mid-December with Koa Pete and Tobe Awaka. Every game, the story now is going to be this front court, this physicality and toughness for Alabama.
Well, let's hit another aspect of it too. Noah Williamson just doesn't look comfortable yet. ESPN commented on it last night on the broadcast. And look, the Patriot League's a good league. And I think Williamson was the player of the year when he was there at Bucknell, but like, it just hasn't translated yet. I know he's not used to playing, probably, with the competition at this level. And I mean, there's a lot that Alabama can get out of this roster that it hasn't so far. And I think that's your bright spot between that. And you're not going to play a team like Purdue maybe all year unless you hit Purdue in the postseason. I mean, there's a lot of room for growth out here for Alabama.
Oh, yeah, that's where thank you for saying that and having that little perspective flip, because that's how I feel about Alabama coming out of this. I got to reiterate, no Keaton Bristow. He would have been at 6'10" and athletic, what he would have been able to do against TKR. Maybe TKR doesn't have 8 offensive rebounds. Maybe it's only 4. Okay, maybe there's a few of those extended Purdue possessions that are not extended anymore. And now it's a defensive rebound, rip and run for Alabama. And hey, tie game with a minute left, basically, minute and a half left, few possessions left. That could have completely changed how this game is played down the last few minutes. And I said yesterday, the the game last year between Purdue and Alabama, it was Alabama's second slowest pace of the whole year. There was only 68 possessions in that game last year. Alabama at Purdue, that was the second slowest they had played the entire year. Ken Pom was projecting 74 possessions in this game, pregame. I said if it gets north of 74, Alabama's probably playing with the lead. They're ripping and running. Alabama's going to win this game if you get above 74 possessions. If it's under, Purdue's probably in control offensively, and Alabama's offense isn't ripping and running. 69 possessions for this one, 5 under the Ken Pom total, and there you have it. I would not be shocked, Chris, if this is the slowest game once again Alabama plays all year.
Yeah, and I'd like to, I mean, I guess we don't have possession length split by offense and defense in the game, do we? Because Alabama's were fast for the most part.
Yeah, not split up by a box score.
Right. I mean, Purdue just does what it does. It plods, and Braden Smith kind of shuffles around, and next thing you know, he's come around a screen and got an open look at a three, and if he doesn't get it, they're grabbing a rebound somewhere. I mean, they're just, it would be a fun matchup, them in Florida.
Yes.
That I would pay. I mean, I'm already paying. Thank you, ESPN. You get another $30 of my money right now every month, but I might pay a little more just to watch that one.
But I mean, Chris, let me ask you. You haven't been as psychotically obsessed with SEC basketball in the past few months as I have. How are you feeling about Alabama? Because right now, if you're looking at the analytics, they're ranked about mid-20s, somewhere around 25th. Me personally, I think they're a little bit better than that. But eye test wise, you just saw them in one of the best games that we're going to see in November. How do you feel just as kind of baseline for Alabama right now?
Well, first of all, you set a high bar with your psychotically obsessed with basketball. That's hard. But I mean, here's what I was thinking this morning. I was kind of replaying the game in my mind while I'm taking Oreo for a walk. I'm thinking, like, this is the team that, like, Mark Sears has been at the middle of the DNA of what they've had for so long. Like, Sears didn't come off the court hardly. I mean, he had that little slump last year, but, like, they're learning to play with new guys, with the new floor leader. Like, there are hallmarks of Alabama basketball that, like, you say, okay, that's what they are. This is how it looks under Nate Oates. But the guys that carried so much of the water for them are not there anymore. And the guys that were sort of your support guys are now the guys that have had to step up. Alabama's a work in progress. I don't say that to be to slight Alabama, say they're not a good team. I'm just telling you, and you see this with Oates every year, right? They play all comers in November and December. And then at the end of that, sometimes they'll take their lumps. But when they get to March, they're usually as strong as anybody. And like that's what's going on, right? You have talent there. Noah Williamson is a better player than we've seen. Aiden Holloway, very talented player. LeBaron Philon, very talented player. Neither of you are used to being what Mark Sears and those guys had to be. Houston Millette steps up from a guy that hasn't been a factor the last 2 years to a guy that's taken big shots in big spots. Now, again, here's the positive if you're Alabama, right? Those guys have been in the system and have been through hundreds of Nate Oates practices. They know what to do. But of course, you're going to see a transition from stepping up from a supporting role to a bigger role, and particularly against a team like Purdue. I think don't judge them now, judge them in February and March, and I just get a feeling they're talented enough where they're going to be a problem.
Completely agree. And if you look at how this non-conference is set up, St. John's, Purdue, and Nate Oates was asked last night, said, did you plan to, did you foresee that your team's number one deficiency, or where people would be asking the most questions about, would be the front court physicality and rebounding? Did you purposely line up St. John's with Zuby Ejiofor and Dylan Mitchell, Purdue with TKR and Clough and Jacobson, Illinois with the Ivisic brothers and David Merkovich, Gonzaga with EK, and did you purposely line this up? And he was like, no, actually, the St. John's date was just the only date that was open at MSG after we had done the schedule. And so that was slid in there before. So it wasn't supposed to be this murderer's row of front courts, but it ends up being, and I think it's going to turn out for the better. You get through all these front courts. You even got Clemson and Arizona still later in December that have pretty good front courts. If the rebounding and physicality is corrected by late February, March, over the course of the season, if it's Keaton Bristow healthy, that's a big fix. Amari Allen continues what he's been doing, and then Taylor Bowen and Aiden Sherrill, they get significantly better because the numbers right now require that. Then this team is right there and like, okay, wow, they're going to be a tough team to beat in March. That's the number one thing right now. You got a whole season to correct it.
This 4-game stretch that they're in, like, I wonder, has a team in the history of basketball played a tougher 4-game stretch in November than what Alabama's in the middle of? Because you got Illinois and the Zags coming out.
And for you folks that don't have the analytics, Purdue, number 5, Illinois, number 4, Gonzaga, number 3.
Yeah.
Three top 5 teams in the nation in a row.
Yeah. You're just missing Duke and Houston.
So, yep. Alabama will be, I'm not worried. I'm not worried at all. I picked Purdue to win the game. I played Purdue plus 3.5. Thought it was a bad matchup with the front court injuries, especially coming off a St. John's win. You throw in the little early season letdown factor. I'm not worried about Alabama whatsoever.
Anything else on the Tide?
No, just don't panic if you're a Tide fan. You've got a lot of good things going here. You got one area that is going to be addressed. Nate Oates is going to address this area.
Yeah. All right. Before we go to LSU and some news in the weekend, reminder, we're brought to you by Yearly Company, a Nashville-based fine jewelry brand built on tradition, designed for meaning. Each piece handcrafted from solid 14-karat gold and natural gemstones, made to measure for a perfect fit, backed by a lifetime guarantee. Every Yearly Company bangle is custom sized, so knowing your size is the most important first step before ordering. That's where the sizing kit comes in. Code SE16KIT will take 100% off your sizing kit at checkout. Go to Yearly Company. Make your significant other happy for Christmas. Make yourself happy when you're not dealing with the holiday, whatever. I don't even know the word for it. Mess. Traffic, stress. Just help out those who help the channel. Speaking of stress, if you get stressed and want to throw your phone, my goodness, I hope you got ROKFORM covering your phone, because I do. They make the world's strongest magnetic phone case, extreme protection, super strong magnets, rock lock secure mounting, SEC 25. Get you 25% off your entire order. Get the case and the vent clip. Thank me for that later. All right, LSU got a win we expected LSU to get last night. LSU put up some points in this one. What did you make of LSU's 98-81 win over FIU?
McMahon was not happy with the defense, admittedly so. He did not like it at all, giving up 81 to FIU, and a large portion of it being in the last 10 minutes. FIU scored 31 points in the last 10 minutes of the game, so was not happy with how they finished the game, and that actually cost them 2 ranks in the analytics. That's how it's very important. You cover that analytical projection. When you're right now, LSU's 43rd. And as I've been telling you guys, right around mid-40s is where you see that March Madness cutoff. And so if you're right in those mid-40s, it is important to beat that analytical spread. So you're moving up into the 30s, get up out of that kind of cloudy 40 range. So they went into the game 41st. They don't cover the analytical projection there after the poor last 10 minutes, and you bounce back to 43rd. However, negativity aside, Markel Sutton, Chris, has been absolutely incredible. Markel Sutton, now I know it's not been the best competition front court wise, but past 2 games for Markel Sutton, 15 points, 15 rebounds. And then this game, 19 points, 12 rebounds, 2 assists, no turnovers. He's been fantastic. We were wondering all offseason, Chris, like, okay, you look at LSU, you got Dean Thomas in the point guard, you got Jalen Reed, Mike Nwoko, and Rob Miller at your, in your front court. Where do you fit in Markel Sutton? He's been a little bit everywhere, but he's been the difference in this team. That's why I think their offense right now, 40th. We're looking at a top 40 LSU offense here, something that Mac McMahon has not even come close to, Chris. If you look at the offensive efficiencies, his best at LSU is 99th, right now at 40. Way better than his previous years.
Yeah, this feels like it's kind of a make or break year for him. They really had the guys in the portal had just been, I don't know. Sometimes they got guys, and I thought these guys are going to be a little better than they turned up being. It's been a little underwhelming, but yeah, I mean I guess Vanderbilt's your leading scoring team in the conference so far. Don't have the stats in front of you. 96, 93, 98 through 3. That's up there.
Yeah. One of the surprises, if you weren't following us in the offseason, might be this LSU offense for you. We were on it, though. Coming up for LSU, you got Alcorn State, Omaha, Drake, and BC. Omaha and Alcorn State are both sub 200 in the analytics, and then Drake and Boston College are 139th and 105th. So you could be going into that Texas Tech game, potentially, sitting an LSU team 7-0, which would be quite the development for Matt McMahon. And like you said, a big time year here, but it's hard to take away too much from LSU right now. Tarleton, New Orleans, FIU, what kind of takeaways are you really going to be able to grab from those?
What do we got? 8, 9 unbeatens in the SEC. Vanderbilt, Tennessee, Missouri, Ole Miss, Georgia, Auburn, LSU, South Carolina.
Not the historic offseason of last year, but that would have been hard. That would have been quite difficult to replicate.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the analytics. It feels like the SEC is going to be really good, number 1 in KenPom right now, but it's more like I don't know that there's a dominant team here just yet, like a Purdue or a Houston or some of the others that are ahead of the SEC. I mean, long time to go. We know Florida's super talented, but you just had so many teams that had to very much reboot. We talked about Alabama losing Sears and guys that were key to its operation. I'll be interested to see if any of those teams can approach that where, you just had so many teams at one point or the other that were in the discussion or ended up on that 1 or 2 seed line in the tournament. Does right now analytically not shaping up to be that way for the league, but it's really, really early.
Yeah.
So
we had some news yesterday, Chris, some unfortunate news. That
Kentucky.
Yes, that shocker. This is not ideal. Point guard and shoulder injuries, Chris. What do you know? It came out yesterday from KSR that Kentucky's point guard Jaland Lowe redislocated his shoulder, popped back out, and had to be popped back in, which is not a good thing. And then Matt Jones said just a little bit under an hour ago, said that sources are telling KSR that the injury could lead to season-ending surgery, but also has other options that would potentially allow him to play. Kentucky and Lowe will be working through which decision is his best path throughout the day. That is as negative as I've seen a KSR injury report as I've ever seen. Not looking good.
I guess they've already played without him a lot. What's the pivot if he's done?
Well, so it's interesting because you have a lot of discourse right now from Kentucky fans saying, man, we should have had a plan B at point guard. We should have had a point guard too. We should have had, shoulda. You did. Had a Caden Lewis committed. And then real late, he decommits and goes to Villanova and is Villanova's starting point guard right now. So you did have it. It just, switch up real late, and you can argue you had enough time to maybe replace him, but still, I mean, that's a real tough spot in a you're asking someone now late in the portal cycle, okay, come commit to us and play for us. You got to be good, but you're not going to start. You're going to come off the bench. Like, that's a tough find. I mean, there's not, SEC level 20-minute per game backup point guards that are just flying around there late in the portal cycle. So Caden Lewis decommits late, and now with a Jaland Lowe potentially season-ending injury, that doesn't sound like this is going to get he's going to be back at 100% anytime soon. Chris, you're looking at missing the Michigan State game. You're looking at potentially missing North Carolina, potentially missing the Zags. And even if he does play against North Carolina, the Zags, you're looking at a point guard playing with a brace on his shoulder that hasn't practiced in a few weeks, going against one of the nation's best. So nightmare scenario, not going to lie. Nightmarish. Yeah.
Well, after watching Louisville, feels like Denzel Aberdeen might be the guy that ends up with the ball in his hands more as a result. Or was that just a one-off, you think?
Yeah, could be Aberdeen, could be Jasper, could be Colin Chandler.
Yeah, I wondered about Jasper, but he, didn't play the other night, so.
Yeah, I mean, you feel good about Aberdeen when he has the ball in his hands, just because he's, one of the seasoned guys. And when you're watching Kentucky eye test wise, like Denzel Aberdeen's just under control, smooth. You can tell he's one of the senior leaders on this team. But historically, he doesn't have the assist to turnover rate. Right now, it's pretty dang good through 3 games. But throughout his 3 seasons, he wasn't asked to do that at Florida. So it's tough to say. Like, maybe I hope so. But we haven't really seen him put into that position before.
Yeah, I mean, always the guy that's going to have to be more of a factor than he was last night, and I think he will. But you do wonder when ball handling is an issue, like how much that ends up affecting him, right?
Yeah, because you look at Otega Owe, he's never had a assist rate higher than a turnover rate in his career.
Yeah,
and last year was his best ever, and he had an assist rate of 11.3, turnover rate of 11.7. So historically, he doesn't. Whoever it's gonna be, you're gonna be asking them to be put into a role that they haven't been thrown into before. Even if you look at Colin Chandler last year, assist rate of 10%, turnover rate of 28%. That's not too good. Now these guys can take leaps into new roles and improve, but it's not going to be anywhere close to Jaland Lowe's 31% assist rate that he was putting up in the ACC.
When did Lamont Butler hurt his shoulder last year?
Man, he hurt it like 20 times.
Well, I know, and I'm just wondering, like, is there anything we can draw from that to take into this one? Because it's a transfer point guard who comes in, hurts a shoulder pretty quickly. It's a problem. And I remember just thinking, like, okay, I kind of wrote him off in my mind at one point. And, like, there were some times where he ended up coming back and playing through stuff and looked better than I would have anticipated. Yeah, it looks like he got hurt last year. The Clemson game, Gonzaga, December 7th and 11th, didn't play.
But then he came back for a while.
8 in a row, sat out 3, played 2, sat out 3, played 5, sat out 1, and then played the last 3.
And he missed the early December games, but then he came back throughout January and was playing high 30 minutes a game. I think Don has it that mid-January, after the Alabama and Vanderbilt games, mid to late January. From then on, he was not himself.
Yeah. Did play the final 3 games in the NCAA tournament. Sat out the SEC tournament final to Alabama after playing a little bit against Oklahoma. I guess the point would be that, like, it felt like the prognosis for him was pretty bad, and they found a way to get him through it. I don't know if don't know if there's a parallel for this one or not, but it just came to mind.
Yes, it was Creasa that was out during the
Oh, that's right.
Yep.
They had a lot of dudes hurt last year, it felt like.
I'm telling you, this is not the ideal situation based on last year's
and started this year with a lot of guys hurt. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I was making I hate to do it, but you know how the San Francisco 49ers just seem to always have their entire team hurt? It's like how every
yeah,
year do they have all these guys hurt? It's only 2 years, but man, we're a year and 3 games in, and there hasn't been many games when Kentucky's had a healthy backcourt.
yeah. No, you're right. It's been a little bit of a mess.
Got a super chat. Thank you, Chris.
I mean, I may not have a choice, and they kind of did that for a bit last year too, right? Like you even had Travis Perry handling the ball a little bit. Might like to have that one back, maybe. I don't know, but couldn't have known it at the time.
Yeah, will Kentucky just go point guard by committee without Jaland Lowe? It might be kind of a hot hand thing in game. You know who's bringing the rock up, but guys, I don't have a great answer for you, because if you're playing a playing a neutral game against Michigan State and Jeremy Fears is in your face playing aggressive perimeter defense, I don't know if I want to put Jasper Johnson into that role. Jeremy Fears is going to pick his pocket a few times probably, but I think maybe a combination of Aberdeen, Chandler, and Owe, maybe something like that. But
that's the best I've got. Yeah, I mean, I don't really think like Ken Pom has listed him as playing some point guard the last couple of years, but he's not really that guy. He's more of a off the ball. Yeah, it feels like that one left a mark.
Maybe like a combo of Aberdeen and Chandler for right now.
Yeah.
I'd say.
Again, the reason I thought Aberdeen had the ball in his hands and was taking it to the rack a lot against Louisville last night in that second half when they were making that charge, which felt kind of weird, but he ended up with 26 points. But then again, like he also took 20 shots, which is kind of not what, I mean, it was just weird because like that's more than he'd ever taken, I think, in his life. So I don't know what to make of that one.
Yeah, we'll see. We will see. We got Justin in here. Chris, I'll tell you, you and Justin are in for quite the Commodore season here. He gifts a membership, and look who gets it. Pooh Bear. Always in here. Great to see. You guys can sign up for our membership tier. Got a lot of stuff coming soon. I'm going to be doing, once this COVID gets out of my system, doing some watch-alongs on the weekends and a bunch of fun stuff. So,
yeah, I went through COVID before we knew COVID was a thing, I think.
I'm telling you guys, I think it's been about 14 days of just sounding like I'm underwater. I'm dying to get out of this, but
man, I'm sorry.
John, $5 super chat. More to come if you can find a way to tuck up John's Auburn Tigers. Hey, they got a big one coming up on Sunday, John. Big one. Maybe the biggest of the whole non-conference. Number 1 analytical team right now, Houston. Chris, that's a 5-point analytical spread there. I think that one's in Birmingham. Yep. So, John, we could stick around, John. You could be in for quite a Monday show after that Sunday game. But anything else, Chris, on the action in Kentucky?
Well, let's see. Let's look to tonight. Eastern Illinois at Kentucky, Cal State Bakersfield at Ole Miss, Samford at Arkansas, UCF at Texas A&M, Georgia Tech at Georgia. I'm guessing UCF A&M is maybe your most interesting game. Georgia Tech in there. What catches your eye about tonight?
Yes, probably because you have the Ole Miss, Arkansas, and Kentucky. Each spread is out north of 24-25. And then you get 10 points for a 10-point spread for A&M and UCF and a 15-point spread for Georgia and Georgia Tech. We're looking for an A&M bounce back. I mean, right? You play your first high major true road game for Bucky McMillan at A&M, and you go to an Oklahoma State team that I think was a little bit underrated without Anthony Roy, and you don't have Mackenzie Mbako. Need a bounce back, Chris, against a UCF team who, so I know they let up 105 to Vanderbilt. Oreo knows they let up 105 to Vanderbilt. But somehow UCF always gives a little bit of trouble to an SEC team. It seems like every year Johnny Dawkins finds his way to give a little bit of trouble to an SEC team in the non-conference. So the one I have circled, obviously, the shortest spread of the night. Give me an A&M bounce back here. Johnny Dawkins is not a coach to be taken lightly in any scenario. And then Georgia, I don't know if you've seen Georgia yet or not, Chris. They haven't played the best competition. 319, 351, and 295 are the three analytical ranks for their opponents so far. Big jump up to 94, Georgia Tech. But Georgia, right now, probably the off-season sleeper, the number one kind of surprise in the first 2 weeks so far, Mike White and company.
Yeah, it was listening to you and Blake the other day, kind of giving them some love. So I've not seen them play yet. And the early games, like you said, have just not been real tests. Georgia Tech will be interesting.
Yeah.
I thought that Damon Stoudemire would have had them a little further along than he's got them so far. But and you mentioned UCF. Yeah, that'll be interesting. See, I think Buckyball and College Station, interesting fit, kind of the polar opposite from where it was under Buzz Williams. So,
yeah. So it's kind of a lighter slate, just given the massive spreads. But Kentucky, Eastern Illinois is got the 351st offensive efficiency under Marty Simmons. Chris, I'm going to read off to you Eastern Illinois' past 5 finishes in offensive efficiency. This is where their offense has finished nationally the past 5 years. 357, 350, 332, 357, 351. Wow. The offense has not been clicking in Eastern Illinois. I'll tell you that. They just lost to Notre Dame on the road by 20. Only got 58 up in that game. If you want to play a little transitive property, Kentucky beat Valparaiso by about 50. Eastern Illinois lost by 3. So, hey, you got a game here. You're down in the dumps a little bit without Jaland Lowe. Injury news, negativity. I think this should be a game the Cats should just come out at home and take off, let some steam off here.
Yeah. Saturday, Kansas City at Texas, Arkansas Pine Bluff at Vanderbilt, Sela at Mississippi State, Oklahoma at Nebraska. I would presume the latter would be your headliner. That is in the Samford Pentagon in Sioux Falls.
Is this the lightest Saturday SEC basketball slate of the whole year? It might be.
Probably.
I think it might be. Kind of an unusual, not too wild Saturday here in SEC hoops. Sunday, honestly, just with that, those 2 big ones, Florida, Miami, and the bigger one, Auburn against number 1 in Ken Palm, Houston, is going to steal the weekend away. So kind of a weird SEC slate here in the non-conference, where just for this weekend, where Saturday isn't the main event.
Yeah, and the football slate, honestly, outside of 2 games, isn't great either. So
weird, yeah, kind of weird weekend.
Yeah, might be a good one to catch my breath a little bit for a change. That's kind of nice every now and then,
There you go.
So, yeah, and since we got Kentucky fans in here, I thought I'd go ahead and say this. We interviewed your baseball coach, Nick Mingione, a couple days ago. Ooh. We'll have that for you coming soon. Really like Nick. Always enjoy the time with him. This week we got him. We got Skip Johnson at Oklahoma. We got Carrick Jackson at Missouri. Who else did we have? I'm missing someone. But Rob Vaughn in Alabama. So we've got those coming up the channel too. This was the rare football, baseball, basketball week for me.
There you go. Getting it all
spread a little thin. Don't always a little uncomfortable when that happens, but we make it work, right?
We do. That's what it's all about here. Did we miss yes, we did miss a super chat here from Justin. Appreciate the $5. Chris, this could honestly be a question for the both of us here, Vandy related. Justin asks, why do you think Vandy dropped 2 spots in Mia's rankings after beating Eastern Kentucky? And then second part, are you thinking Vandy can easily go undefeated in the non-conference? Well, to answer the first part real quick, that is probably because of Lipscomb's loss to either UNC Asheville or Mercer. There's probably one of the 3 previous opponents for Vanderbilt dropping in the analytical rankings, which made that win less, the previous opponent drops and it affects later on. I can't think of anything other than that.
Yeah. I mean, either that or did they drop or did just someone jump up and pass them by having a good game?
That could something like that.
Yeah. How much preseason is baked into all these at this point? I would think a lot.
I'm not sure, but me personally, I pretty much forget whatever I thought in the preseason pretty quick after I can get just one good non-conference game. Like, just, who are we just talking about that hadn't Georgia? It's hard to really have a strong opinion on them when they haven't played anyone that's going to give them some major resistance. So until then, it's tough.
Yeah, I mean, the spot where it feels like they take their first loss is right before Christmas, Memphis and Wake away. But I mean, they went to UCF and controlled that thing pretty quickly. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not shocked if they get to SEC play unbeaten. I'm just not. I mean, they are really, really. It feels weird saying this. And I don't like to say it because, like, I want to see them play somebody, right? I mean, and I guess UCF on the road was a decent test, but it's not Purdue or some of these teams, some other teams in the league are playing. But man, look test, they've got a ton of talent. They are deep. They can shoot the lights out of the ball. They got 3 guys that can play point that are really good. Inside is going to be their issue. And the Nicholson injury right now, well, actually it's not an injury. It's kind of like an illness. But he'll be back soon. I don't know how long it takes him to get back into form, but boy, they look great so far. And I saw the Virginia exhibition too, which, like, that was a bad matchup for them with Virginia's size, and they ended up handling it. So I think that's probably part of the calculus there. Is like, I've seen them play one team already that would be kind of an unfavorable stylistic matchup, and they handled it pretty well. So.
Yeah, the one matchup that I think a lot of people, just SEC fans and maybe Vandy fans, are looking over just because they were kind of a joke of the bubble last year is Andy Enfield's SMU Mustangs, just because 7-2 Yigatolu. This guy is the absolute real deal, and he's staying on the floor, something that he couldn't do as much last year. In 3 games, Yigatolu at 7'2", 270, okay? A mammoth of a human is doing 34 minutes, 31 minutes, 32 minutes. He only got to 30 minutes like once or twice. I think maybe three times last year. He got over 30 minutes, and he's done it in the first 3 games. So you can expect that SMU game, whoever it is, if it's Nicholson's back yet, if it's Washington, or it's McLaughlin playing a little bit at the 5, for 30-ish minutes, 30-something minutes, you're going to have 7-2 Yigatolu to have to defend and work around. So that'll be, for me personally, that's what I'm circling for Vandy coming up.
Yeah, that's a good call. You know who else is on that roster? Blast from the past, Sam Walters.
Sam Walters.
Sam Walters.
Yes. Sharpshooter, baby.
Yeah.
Knocking down.
No, that's a good call because that is exactly what's going to give them trouble. They're going to just, they'll clock Pine Bluff this weekend, and I think they got a couple of more gimmies on the horizon. Let's see. Yeah, Texas Southern, and then Western. Okay, then the Thanksgiving tournament.
Yep.
So, well, yeah, in those games, they're playing, what is it, Atlantis? No, they're in the Bahamas. I'm sorry. And not all the games are listed here. So that'll be the first stretch that probably tests him a little bit. So
yeah, we will see.
Anyway, all right. Yeah. Hey, thank you guys for watching. Max, good to join you guys. I'm gonna slowly get back in the mix here with basketball. Football's just got so much of my attention, and baseball prep too. But man, it's always fun jumping in and chatting hoops.
It is. Chris, I just did the classic hold in a sneeze, and then all of the congestion goes to your eyes, and they start watering. No, that's what we're dealing with right now.
Speaking of get help, we got to get Max Barr healthy, man. Max Barr at 80% is just not, Max Barr running through brick walls like we appreciate about you.
Soon enough.
Yeah. Well, hey, it's fun.
Yep.
Hope Blake is safe on his trip. I'll be back tomorrow with several football streams. We'll react to those. And more baseball stuff on the way. And Max, have a good weekend. Get well, my man.
Yeah, TBD on basketball reaction streams. I'm thinking the normal stuff Saturday, but I'm telling you right now, you guys know me. If Auburn wants to go and make some noise against Houston, we might be seeing you guys Sunday as well. So keep those notifications on. Stay tuned.
Yeah, Matt wants to know when the Mingione interview is again. We got to do a little production work on those
tomorrow, right?
Okay. Well, I've got to do a little stuff on my end for that too. So yeah, but those will be coming. Okay. Yeah, and I'll help you on my part for that. So anyway, that's coming. Yeah, I've got to get out of here, run somewhere myself. But Max, good joining you. Yeah. Thanks to everybody in the chat that was here. Best of luck to Kentucky on your basketball health. Would like to see you at full strength. Let's hope we get some of that going. And we'll be back tomorrow with football stuff. For Max Barr, I'm Chris Lee. God bless you. Have a great weekend. You've been watching Southeastern 16 presented by FanDuel.